Hello and welcome. I'd like to talk to you today a bit about SpeechBrain. I've started a new project. Let me switch over to the desktop. I've called it, what is this? Julie SpeechBrain. You see it right down here. Julie SpeechBrain. It's up on GitHub. You can take a look at it there. And so we import what we need to. We set up the model here. We've got a function here to record audio into a file, and then we have one here that calls it. I guess this is kind of silly. There's got to be a better way to do this. We don't need this middle function in here. And then down here in main, we call this function, pass in 5 seconds, and then we print the transcript from this file. We use the ASR model.transcribe under file to print it. So now let's run it and see how well it works. It takes a little while for it to set up the model, and now it says it's recording. So you can see I have to wait for that recording message to pop up. And I have to speak quickly because it's only 5 seconds. Okay, so it's doing all right at the moment. Right, that's actually one of the better runs. That's actually one of the better runs that I've had with it. I don't think I'm getting a word error rate around 2% or under 2%, which is what they publish. But it seems to be doing okay. Nevertheless, it's kind of clunky because I can't find a way to have the model transcribe from a stream. So I have to write to a file and then I have to read from the file, and it seems slow. I don't know if you thought it was slow, but when it stops recording, from the time it stops recording to the time it prints out what it has transcribed, I think it's just too long. It also seems to take a long time for that initial ASR model object to get prepared. And I'm guessing what's happening is that it's going out to maybe Huggingface and grabbing the hparams file. That's where is it? This hparams.yaml file, and this has all the model parameters here, and it doesn't seem to be pulling it down every time. The pre-trained model that seems to be there already. Here it is. There's a checkpoint, and if I open the properties, you can see that this is actually this file is actually a link to .cache Huggingface hub, and then the I guess that's the file name for the checkpoint. And you can see that this was modified on April 1st. And April 1st, I guess, is probably the first day that I tried to run any code like this, and it pulled the model down. But I wonder if there's a way for me to specify the path. Oops, where are we? Specify the path here at this point rather than going out to Hugging Face for that hyperparameters, that YAML file. This is what I think is happening. I can't be 100% sure, but it's what I suspect. And it takes a while. Uh, it's quite a few seconds before that record message comes up. And so what would I like to see for this? Another way to do this so I can point directly to that model. And then I'd like to have this go into a stream and pass the stream into the transcribe. So I don't have to write it to a file and then read from a file, because that takes time. And so I looked in the code here for this, and I don't see any way to do this. I've spent quite a bit of time with the document so far, and they're very difficult to understand. The documentation for this is, I don't know for whom they're writing this, but they certainly aren't writing it for me. And I've been around a while, and I've read a lot of documentation, a lot of APIs, and this is just very cryptic. Nevertheless, I hope to get in touch with them, see if we can do some things for that. The other thing is, this listening for 5 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever is fine for certain applications. But if you're trying to have a conversation with the machine, doing question answer back and forth, it doesn't really work. I suppose what one really wants is to have the system listen until it encounters silence. At that point, it should pass a stream over to the transcribe function. And that makes a lot more sense. So how do I rate this? At the moment, I find it difficult, not as accurate as I would hope, and slow. And in order to improve the accuracy, if I have to pass these files through some filters like SOX to denoise, that's going to slow it down even more. And now I'm in a noisy environment here. I've got a fan that makes a lot of noise, and it affects the word error rate, and that's understandable. But one has to assume that if this is a release to the world, a lot of people are going to have noisy environments, and it has to do a better job in noisy environments. But on the whole, it's an interesting project. I hope that they have some way to remove noise from within their pipeline. I suspect that they do, but it's not a simple matter. And the documentation is not written in any form like a tutorial. As I say, it's very cryptic. I'm sure that the people who wrote it understand it, but I'm not sure that many other people will. So my guess is that they're writing for an audience of maybe 100 people. And that's not really a good way to write software. Anyway, I thank you for joining me, and I hope that you found this helpful. Bye-bye.